So most importantly, we need to know who we are today and what we value today. There are people who are listening that were married for 30 years. Maybe they're widowed. Maybe they're divorced and they're dating again newly. Well, the person you might have been looking for 20 years ago is going to be a little different than the person you might want to be with today. And I don't like for dating to be a find my person process. I like to use the space between relationships as this beautiful opportunity to grow, become a richer, fuller version of who we are, get clear about who we are today and what matters today.
If you're within the sound of my voice, you're watching or listening to the Sterling Spin podcast. And I'm excited to bring you a new spin on loving, living, learning, and growing, and having some fun, especially today. You never know who's going to be sitting in the seat next to me. And I am introducing you to Julie Ferman, who is a matchmaker. I'm grateful that you're joining us. My name is Liz Sterling, and welcome to today's program. And Julie, welcome to you.
Thank you, Liz. I'm really happy to be here.
I'm so happy. I have you as like a true pioneer in the modern matchmaking world. Julie is the founder of Cupid's Coach, a nationally recognized personal matchmaking and dating coaching service. We need this. With decades of experience, she's been featured in countless media outlets. She's helped thousands, over 1,400 matches. That's thousands connect in meaningful, lasting relationships. And her approach blends old school personal connection with today's dating realities, making her one of the most trusted voices in the industry. I am so happy to have you in the seat and to welcome you as one of our newest sponsors of the Sterling Spin podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, for being here.
You're welcome, and thanks for the opportunity. It's great to connect your community with my community. It's kind of like risky business. You don't know what's going to happen.
No, that sounds like fun. Let's get going. So how do we do this risky thing?
Well, in general, yes, I've been doing this for a long time. I married the guy who sold me my dating service membership at his dating agency back when I was looking for love, and he was a bachelor, 44, never married, and he opened up a dating service in my hometown, which was St. Louis. I had no life. I was working in the hotel industry, crazy hours, so I stumble in there. He takes my money. Then later, I flirted with him, like a couple weeks later, and I said, "What's the story with you, pal?" And I caught him off guard, got him on a date, and 5 weeks later, we got engaged, and 5 months later, we got married, and 2 months later, we got pregnant, and 2 boys. They're 31 and 34 now. They're both single and in my database. So I worked for Gil for years, learned a lot about the dating industry. And then when we moved to California, where he was from, we sold his companies and I launched mine back in 2001. It's alive and well. It's taken many forms. But you know what was really special about it, Liz? It was right about the time that broadband internet was hitting our homes.
Right.
So instead of doing it the way it had been done, get a big fancy office and hire a bunch of people and do a lot of marketing just to get a few people to come in and maybe buy a membership, I didn't want to do it that way. I wanted to work with everyone. So when I found you, I'm like, "Hey, Liz, what's the story with you?" I'll register people privately. Nobody gets to browse. That's the bad news. But the good news is
actually, I think that's the good news because we trust you. Once you fill out a questionnaire, which is extensive, I really appreciated. You're like, "Liz, I'm going to get you in my database." I'm like, "What does it mean?" It's like, fill out the questionnaire so I get to know you. Then we'll meet online. Then you'll get to know me. Then we'll work together. And then I will be thinking about you when you're going through the files. So that's why I don't go through the files. You do.
Right. And how introductions happen in my world is I've got, over 40,000 people have registered with me since the beginning. And the hubs are Los Angeles and Santa Fe, New Mexico, and now Colorado. And I just made an introduction happen this morning for a lady who's in Alaska and a gentleman who lives in Oakland, California.
Okay.
They were
They'll
both in my
figure it out, right?
they were both in my boot camp. So they already kind of know each other from our office hours calls. And she's flying to San Francisco next week. And she said, maybe I should meet this gentleman and I said, why not?
Yeah.
I always need to have the guy's yes first. Can you guess why the guy has to say yes first?
Okay, so let me make sure I understand. You've got a database, you've got the men, you've got the women. You're going to go to the man first.
Right.
And if he says yes, I bet because men are discriminating based on looks.
That's a big part of it. That's a big part
Like
of
they've
it.
got to have a head and go, oh, yeah, or not for me. But they'll do it like that. Whereas a woman will look a little deeper, possibly.
Yes. We are more likely, like in my husband's dating service, it was really fun. Of course, you had to spend the money first before you could participate at all. And then you and I, as the girls, we'd sit at the tables and we'd look through we'd read the profile.
Right.
And then we'd look at the photos. And then we'd put the little VHS tape in the machine
You'd
so
hear
we
their
could
voice,
see the video,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
The guys, The guys standing up at the counter, photos. And then if there was a photo that he liked, maybe he would glance quickly at the profile before he would run to the front and say, okay, I want to meet Liz. And then they would send you a postcard in the mail.
Wow. Oh, my God. You are dating yourself,
I know,
my friend.
I can't believe it. And so then you'd have to drive into the office and look and see, oh, it was Blake who picked me, and you'd study up and you'd give the yes or the no.
These are the days from long ago. I remember going to Blockbuster to get my, videos, and I had 8 tracks. I mean, who would believe all this?
Well, it was rather archaic when we think about it now. And my sister, I was able to find her husband for her. It's my favorite relationship of all time. Her name is Liz also.
Aww.
And this guy comes in, and I talked him into signing up and becoming the member. And then I shared some profiles with him, and one of them was my sister, Liz. But I didn't say it was my sister. I just said, what do you think about this one? He says, she's beautiful. I'd love to meet her. So I called her quickly. I said, Liz, I got a great guy for you, and he really wants to meet you. And she says, I don't have time to get all the way there. Why don't you just fax the profile to me? And I'm like, okay. So I faxed the profile, and the photos you can't even see, right?
No. They're like the pixelation is ridiculous.
So she said, Julie, you know what? If you think he's attractive, I know that I will too. So go ahead and say yes for me. The only introduction she ever had, and the only introduction he ever had.
Wow.
And they're the best parents I know.
When I told someone that you were coming in, they were like, why would anybody use a matchmaker? You can go on any one of the, Hitch or Hatch or whatever they're called these days. I don't even know. Tinder. I mean, there's Go Fish.
Yeah.
I know I sound silly. And if you want to pay, you could do Match, you could do eHarmony, you could do JDate.
Right.
So how come somebody's coming to you, a matchmaker, to go into a database?
Typically, they're not having a good experience with online dating, or they feel like they're too private to put themselves out there that way. Therapists, people who are well known in their communities, they really don't, I saw you on Match.com. It's kind of creepy, right? Yeah. But then I don't care how people meet, only that they do. So my approach is, of course, if I've got a great idea for an introduction, I am going to go to the guy first, because first I need to make sure he's available.
Right. And that he's open, that he's got to be open. Otherwise, because does it mean that women are more open or more willing or more flexible?
Well, about different things. You see, the first threshold for a man is the visuals. They don't develop attraction over time. Like I might have asked you this question, Liz, and I'll ask all the listeners here. Have you ever met somebody, you weren't attracted, you got to know him, and before you know it, he kind of became adorable and even dateable. Has it happened?
It does. Of course it does.
For us, 85% of women have given me a yes response in 50,000 interviews. When I ask the same darn question to tens of thousands of men, can we ask the guys in the room?
All right. Ask the guys.
How often does it happen that you see somebody, you're not at all attracted to her, and then, you get to know her, and all of a sudden you're so attracted to her? Does it happen all the time, a little bit of the time, hardly ever?
Never had that happen.
Right.
Probably very little.
Very little.
Little to not really.
Okay.
Alda? Uh-huh.
Thank you for validating what we have determined is true about you guys. And it's not because you're superficial and shallow. Women say that to me all the time. No, it's bigger than that. You have equipment that needs to work in order for babies to be born on the planet.
You
Seriously.
are correct. I mean, this is definitely true. You need your equipment to work in order for babies to be born on this planet.
And even, I've got a guy I'm working with right now who's 84 years old. He was married for, 60-something years. And he's really selective visually. And this guy, he would rather sit at home on a Saturday night than be on a date with somebody he's not attracted to. So I start there. And every guy's different.
If I were on one of those dating sites, I do that scroll left, scroll right, look, see. So as a woman, I'm less discerning than the man is, but still I want to know, why am I coming to you?
Oh, yeah. So it's just another opportunity. Like, I was on a consultation with a woman this morning who lives in New Mexico, and she lives in remote corner of New Mexico. And she travels often to Santa Fe. She travels to Albuquerque. She travels to Denver. She travels to Los Angeles, Ojai, all the places where I have.
Perfect for you.
Yeah, these are all the places where I have inventory.
I think I heard you say also you may be doing dating in Delray.
Oh, I was on a podcast. It was wonderful. It was called Dateless in Delray.
Okay, that's like South Florida area. So I'm like, you may be expanding even further. So
this is the good news.
The woman in New Mexico,
yeah, So here's exactly how the consultation works.
Okay.
The first thing I do, and everybody listening is welcome to register with me. It's julieferman.com. Just register. I will be in touch. I will schedule a call, just like I did with you.
Yeah.
I want to have a company that's manageable enough that I can be the matchmaker. I used to run this thing big with 5 offices and 12 employees and 300 clients at any given time. I won't do it that way again. I don't think personal matchmaking can be done well on a large scale.
Mm-hmm. No.
So it's perfect now.
And you're not using AI to put people together. I mean, I don't think that we need you, Julie Ferman.
I think so. I think it would be interesting if I plugged AI into the equation and said, hey, who do you think would be amazing for Liz? And see how it would do.
I'd be curious.
I'm curious too.
Yeah.
And the software that I use, it does make suggestions. But they're not always very good suggestions, right?
But you're meeting each person individually.
Yes.
You're getting a sense of what they're looking for, who they are. So in that, you literally become the matchmaker. You're not plugging it into software, right?
The truth of it is.
All right, come on.
I'm not really a matchmaker because I don't have your permission to arrange your next relationship. So I think of myself more as a possibilities broker, a relationship catalyst, that sort of thing. So
a possibilities broker.
I'm a possibilities broker. So if I'm, like this morning, I was working with this woman. Her name is Tara. And we identified some interesting possibilities because on my Zoom consultations, I'm going to show real live people.
Right.
And then I'm going to watch your face and find out who you go for.
That's right. I was like, you were doing that with me, and I was like, yeah, no. Oh, I remember doing that.
And so it helps me to understand, who's the type of person that Liz might be intrigued with, but I still don't have anything. Because then I got to do what I did after I hung up from my Zoom call with Tara, and there were 3 men I was really interested in for her. And I reached out to one, I reached out to the second, and I reached out for the third, and I found out that one of them that I'm interested in, he says, you know what, Julie, I started seeing somebody last month, and it's going pretty well. And then he said, so who do you have in mind? I said, nice
Oh,
try.
is that funny?
Nice try. I'm not going to show you my girl's profile until you come back to me and say, I'm fully available, interested in whoever you might have.
Good for you.
If he says yes, then I got something. Then I can go to her, Tara, what do you think? And she's already going to give me the yes because we already talked about him this morning. So if they both say yes, then it's a match and I can share cell numbers. Now, neither one of these people is my high-level matchmaking client. That's a $15,000 to $25,000 adventure. I will tell most people, don't even think about it. It's either
Wow.
right to have me be your personal
I see. If you're going
dating
to sit
slave. Yes.
and follow it along the way and help and massage it and nurture it,
Well,
that's matchmaking.
yeah, if it's matchmaking, I am promising introductions.
Wow.
Right? That's a lot of
How does
responsibility.
it feel to, like, I'm feeling your energy, your enthusiasm, your excitement. It's bubble. There's like bubbles,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's champagne-y and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
how you are. Is that how it feels for you to
Well,
be in this putting together?
not when I don't get the right answer. So when I go to Jack and he says, "Oh, Liz looks great. She's just not my cup of tea. Who else you got?"
Mm-hmm.
That's not my favorite part of my day.
No.
And
Okay.
sadly,
So
now,
thank you for being so honest.
it's the only way I know how to be. And the guys in this room just validate it for us that if they're not attracted at a certain threshold to a woman visually, there's nothing I can do to get him excited. And
It
if
didn't
he,
take you too long to learn that, right? In your career, in your 25-year career?
I was so naive and so stupid at the beginning at 30 years old when I started this. I thought I could reform these guys. I did. I think, oh, we're going to I'll bring
Just
them in and
try it.
we'll say, oh, come on now, don't you think? But it doesn't work. And there are a lot of agencies out there that do blind date matchmaking. It's Just Lunch is one.
Oh, yeah.
Talkify is a big one right now. They do blind date matchmaking, and it's expensive. And I don't know how they get the guys to do it because they do blind date
I like those
introductions.
fast ones, like you go and
Speed dating.
Speed dating. I think that is really interesting because why not get in front of 20 or 30 people in 2 hours instead of slogging through, one here and there? But
You want me to
this,
tell you more about speed dating?
well, tell me a little.
Okay, the problem is I've done it a bunch of times, and the same 3 girls get picked by everybody, and the same 3 guys get picked by everybody. But I've made it work because let's say you pick John, and John didn't pick you. Well, maybe John didn't get any matches. Maybe Liz didn't get any matches. So I can go to John and say, "Oh, John, I'm so sorry that the women that you selected, they didn't pick you back. But you know what? There were 3 women who picked you. Let me share Liz's profile and Susie's profile." And sometimes then I can make the match.
Right, so-
It's the same problem with online dating. The same 12 people are getting picked all day long and they get spoiled rotten. And then guess what happens?
I don't know.
Nothing.
Oh, gosh.
Nothing. It's the paradox of choice. They're paralyzed
Well,
with choices.
we're going to pause for a moment. Julie Ferman here in the studio. You're listening to the Sterling Spin podcast. Thank you so much for being here. I'd like to ask you to please hit that subscribe button. And then once you do, you will see a bell. Hit the bell, and that will notify you when new shows drop. I want to say you come to see who's in the studio every Sunday with a new show dropping because you never know who's going to be here. And I am so grateful that Julie Ferman is here, a new sponsor of the Sterling Spin podcast. You can meet her at julieferman.com. We'll have that written for you, nice and easy, from Cupid's Coach. And we're here to learn about living, loving, laughing, dating, matching, meeting people. I also want to know from you if you have a story, if you have something interesting, and you think that others would like to hear it too. I am the liaison between you and the audience. So send me an email at sterlingspin@gmail.com. Thanks so much. Back to Julie. Julie, what are tips that you can give? You knew this was going to be you're like a mind reader too. What are tips that you can give someone who's newly entering the pool of dating and what do we need to know to make it work? I haven't gone into that arena since my husband passed in 21.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, what, how, when? But I'm glad it's in your hands. But for somebody who's watching,
Yeah.
who's listening, what do you do? How do you do it?
If you have a computer or you have a phone, you have an email, whatever, register with me and I will help because it's free, it's private. I love helping people get their foot wet with the dating space. Where if you're going to be dating, you probably need to know how to articulate who you are. If you're going to be using the online sites, when you register on my site, it's a great opportunity to practice articulating who are you? What type of person would you appreciate spending time with? What are your passions? What do you love to do? What
How many questions are there?
like 6 or 7 essays, but then there are lots of other questions like
I got to know myself through filling out your questionnaire. So anybody who goes to julieferman.com, gets in touch with you, they will be given an opportunity to get that questionnaire and to answer it. And that really was a first like, wow, oh, I didn't even know that. Oh, that's really great. But I didn't get it back. So I'm wondering, how is there a way I can see
Yes.
the things that I wrote?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, you just go right to my website and you log in the upper right. And
Fabulous.
yeah, I have to grant member portal access, but I probably did because you're Liz Sterling. And,
Oh,
you know,
well,
some
thank
pretty
you.
important
Liz
people.
Sterling, you're going to be back here after I meet my match.
Well,
I'm excited.
so most importantly, we need to know who we are today and what we value today. There are people who are listening that were married for 30 years. Maybe they're widowed. Maybe they're divorced and they're dating again newly. Well, the person you might have been looking for 20 years ago is going to be a little different than the person you might want to be with today. And I don't like for dating to be a find my person process. I like to use the space between relationships as this beautiful opportunity to grow, become a richer, fuller version of who we are, get clear about who we are today and what matters today. I'll give you a tip. When we really look at the qualities that matter for women, it's usually not how tall is he that rises to the top of
I
what's
wouldn't
most
think
important.
So. No.
Usually something related to character, trustworthiness, honesty, loyalty. That's always for women the part where they'll feel the most safe if they're with somebody whose word they can trust.
Yeah.
Right?
And who makes them feels heard. I mean, I think that that's probably a big one too.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of friends who've gone on dating sites, whatever they go, and they're like, all night, all I did was just listen to him talk about him. And I was like, really? I don't know. I don't.
Do you want to know why they do that?
Yeah, it's not been my experience.
Maybe the guys, again, can validate what I think I know about men and why on a date it happens so often that the guy is just talking, and he doesn't ask any questions about her. Oh. He's talking. Now, I think there are 2 reasons why a guy can do it. Either he's interested in her, he's attracted to her, he wants her to be impressed with him, so he's peacocking, he's showing all of his pretty colors. That's one reason. Now, the other one, he's not interested. He's not attracted. He walked in and we're like, oh, my God, I got to get through this date. He's just trying to survive the date. Men instinctively are more inclined to conceal as opposed to reveal, okay? They have an advantage with, the deer they're trying to shoot and bring home for dinner, right? If they aren't talking and they think sometimes that it would be rude or impolite to be digging into, well, why, the worst question to ask on a date, why'd you get divorced? How'd your husband die? Please. Please. Right. We have to get more creative than that.
Or to spend too much time talking about the children or the ex or the one deceased. I mean, I've heard that too.
Or the grandchildren.
They're still so connected to that, life that they created. I've heard it. It's like they're not really present in the moment.
Exactly. You just said it. Being present on a date is the most important thing. Be present and look for, it's what my mother-in-law calls, look at the donut, not the hole, right? Look at what's there. Look at what's lovely about this person, not, oh, I wish they were taller. Oh, I wish, he didn't have as much education as I do, whatever.
I'm so glad you touched on this because I wanted to ask you a question, like personally. So I feel that as we age, we become very preferential. We know what we like, what we don't like, how a man smells, how he dresses, what socks he chooses. I mean, there's familiarity, and then we have preferences. And so, how do you see the donut and not the, how do you go past these preconceived ideas of, oh, it should be comfortable for me? How do you surrender
Yeah.
a little bit of your own desires
Yeah.
to be able to be in acceptance of like what's showing up?
Yeah, like how guys are more visual than we are, and it's kind of a limitation in dating. Well, we can be extraordinarily critical and judgmental. A
Right.
euphemistic way of saying that would be we're discerning. So the biggest mistake we make in dating as women is when we veto, dismiss, discard, toss in the trash a potentially really good man for something that's secondary. It's not a key criteria. So the first thing I love to do, and you and I did this over the phone, and then we did our Zoom consultation and we refined it. I want to know, what are the top 3 things, qualities that you'd rather be single forever than partner with somebody who didn't have these qualities? It's usually along the lines of trustworthy, kindness is in there, the fun factor, that's humor. It might be shared values or shared passions. But when we veto a guy because of something that's not a critical
Yeah,
criteria,
like I didn't like the shape of his mustache or
I
something.
didn't like that mustache. I just didn't. Yeah, that beard's got to go. Can you believe he wore that shirt to a photo shoot,
This is
right?
absurd. This is silly.
But it's actually the safest way for us to date, because if we make everybody wrong, we're nice and safe in our little bubble and we never get hurt.
So you're really going a little bit deeper here, and you're saying some people choose to stay single because they've been hurt in love and they don't want to be hurt anymore. And so I'll discard, I'll discount, disqualify,
Right.
and then I can be okay being with me. And then there's that inside voice that says, it's really time to be with someone, or maybe
Yeah.
you should be with someone.
Yeah.
So you have to know yourself.
The secret for all of us is not just single people, it's not just people who are dating, it's to practice looking for what's right in people and what's lovely in people, and to practice being in the present, right?
Right, for sure.
And to practice dialogue and practice communication. Most of the first dates you go on, they're not going to be your person.
They're a little awkward.
They're not going to be
also,
your person.
Right.
It's going to be a nice guy, but most of them.
Uh-huh.
Do we throw them in the trash? No, we don't. Like my former boyfriend's Southern Belle grandma told me. Did I tell you this part?
No. Wait, I'm just putting those
My
pieces.
former boyfriend's
boyfriend's
grandma. I think I
okay.
dated him an extra couple months because I really loved his
Oh,
grandma.
I've heard of stories like that.
She was
too.
amazing. And so she said, as we were breaking up and I told her I probably wouldn't be seeing her much anymore, she said, Julie, I'm going to give you some dating advice. You want some dating advice? I said, sure, Ann, give me some dating advice. She said, never turn down a date with anybody. You never know who his friends might be. And she was so right. And I've practiced that. A guy tried to pick me up at a Chamber of Commerce party. He was an older guy, right? And you don't just be mean to him. I just played with him. And I said, well, I'm kind of a little bit younger. I'm kind of looking for marriage and babies. I'm guessing you probably already did that. And he,
Oh, wow.
and he said, well, yeah, I kind of did. And I said, how about your son? He says, I actually have a son. Maybe you should meet him. I said, okay, I'll meet your son.
Oh, is that funny?
So I met him. He was not my guy. Something about the bad toupee. I couldn't get over it. I just couldn't. But we became friends because we loved the symphony. We loved art together.
That's nice.
We became friends. And then later,
You see, I am really naive. I don't even know if somebody's wearing a toupee. I just
You
don't
would have
see
known.
that. Oh, I would have.
it was like crooked. You wanted to rip the thing off his head. It was awful.
Oh,
but
geez,
6
Louise.
months later, he said, Julie, you're never really going to go for me, are you? And I said, you mean like in the romance way? And he said, yeah. I said, no, you're my buddy. Come on. And he said, damn it. Well, maybe you should meet my cousin Tom. And cousin Tom was hot. Cousin Tom was great. I dated cousin Tom.
Okay, I could tell just by what you're saying.
Yeah, you see, woo,
You had fun with
we had
cousin
some
Tom.
fun with Tom, didn't
Wow.
we? Woo. So don't turn down dates with people and spin them into friendships, and don't ever ghost. Find the courage to say, I'm so glad we met today. I think you're terrific. I don't know if I'm feeling the romance vibe, but I'm really glad we met. Let's
Be
stay
honest,
friendly.
be real. And I loved what you said about looking and practicing to see the best in others instead of letting the judgmental or the critical mind take the foreground.
Yes.
Push it back and look at people and be looking for the best.
Yes.
And bring the best in yourself too, because you certainly did today. You brought the best of Julie Ferman to the Sterling Spin podcast. We will learn more from you, and you can learn more from Julie Ferman at julieferman.com. Do you want to say something to your audience, because they're here and they may want to know something about being their best?
I would say resist the temptation to make dating about finding your person. Make dating about connecting with people and offering smiles. Make it your mission as you go about your day to bring smiles to faces.
Wow. Make it your mission as you go about your day to bring smiles to faces.
Yes.
In all the places that you may be.
That's right. And then we have to get good at the second part of flirting, which is talking about nothing, And the third part, which is where everybody falls apart, which is, great to meet you today, Liz, and I'll give you my card. And if you're dating, I recommend a calling card as opposed to a business card.
Okay.
So you can't be Googled, and people can check in with me later, and I'll tell you exactly how to do that. Nice to meet you. Here's how to find me. We should get together for coffee sometime. I really like your energy.
I did that not too long ago. I'm still waiting. All right, Julie Ferman, I'm so glad you're in my life.
Thank you,
I had a
Liz.
feeling that there was something coming, and it's you. I was like, oh, there's somebody coming in my life I'm going to meet, and it's because I love your smile. And you have a beautiful heart, and I'm wearing the heart to really honor who you are. Thank you so much for coming on to the Sterling Spin, for being one of the sponsors of our program and making it possible for us to bring programming to you. You are listening to the Sterling Spin. Thank you very much. Until the next time you're within the sound of my voice, I want to thank you so much for tuning in, for being with us. I want you to be well. I want you to be blessed, be happy. Bring the best of yourself forward. Keep spinning toward tomorrow today. This is Liz Sterling.